Hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know, my name is Matthew Steinke, and I review movies because that's what I do best. Today, for the fourth film in our series of Halloween reviews, we're going to be taking a look at John Carpenter's The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing was directed by John Carpenter and stars Kurt Russell, Wilford Brimley, Keith David, and Peter Maloney. The plot revolves around a group of researchers in an Antarctic outpost that discovers an alien that can take the form and imitate different life forms. As they try to figure out who is real and who is the thing, paranoia starts to kick in amongst the men, separating them even more. Alright, let's get right into the positives of this film. John Carpenter. While this is not my favorite John Carpenter film of all time, I must admit that this is his most well-made film. His direction is taut and suspenseful, with an extreme sense of isolation and paranoia coming through each and every scene. He takes the screenplay and amps it up considerably, making the images of the screen on the screen even more terrifying than the text. His reverence for the original source material is felt, and you feel a sense of great respect in this adaptation. He has since said that he grew up on the original Howard Hawks version, The Thing from Another World, that came in the 1950s, I believe. I think it was 1955, 1954. And so he was really excited to do a remake of that film and add his own, little touches on it. And you can sense that throughout this entire film. You can sense that he cares about the source material. Carpenter should feel immensely proud of this film. The acting. Kurt Russell and the rest of the cast deliver intense performances as men who struggle to find any sort of trust in each other. The paranoia that builds is realistic and quite intimidating on the screen, and the constant sense of distrust between them is all palpable and adds to an eerie sort of danger that's in scenes that seem devoid of danger. Kurt Russell is the standout, though, with his character of R.J. MacReady being collected, calm, and a great leading man reminiscent of the old Howard Hawks films of the 1950s. Now, most of you who know the film probably know it for the special effects. The gore, and you expect me to praise them. And Rob Bottin, who did the special effects on the film, does a fantastic job realizing these creatures, making them look disgustingly realistic and insanely uncomfortable to look at. They're just horrifying when they come on screen, and part of me wants to look away every time I see them because they're just that gross. Don't get me wrong, they're wonderfully well done and scary, but I will warn you that if you don't like any type of gore at all, you should not watch this film. The main selling point for me has always been the suspense in this film and the atmosphere, but I know that for most people the selling point is the gore. I'm not much of a gore hound. I don't love gore. I don't go to horror movies to see gore. I don't cheer and laugh when a bunch of gore comes on the screen. That's just not me. I don't really like gore that much. I don't think it adds much to a film, but done here, I understand why it's shown, because they want to show how terrifying the monster is, but some of it to me just feels out of place, like it's just there because they wanted to show how good they could do, which is really good. Like I said, it's disgustingly realistic, but I've just never been one who loves gore that much, and if you don't like gore, once again, do not watch this film. Now, into the negatives on this film. The film in some aspects is just a little too long for me. Some scenes go by incredibly slow, while others just move from fast-paced scene to fast-paced scene. The pacing is a little off. Just a little, and in some parts I feel like the actors are overshadowed by the spectacular special effects. Some people complained the monster had little, to no screen time, but I feel like we could have used more scenes of the characters' reactions. I feel like we got a lot of scenes with the monster, and I feel like if we had just had a moment for these characters to realize even more so what's going on, and maybe just gotten little hints while they're talking, and then this one character is just a little bit off, that could build some tension with the audience knowing, did the filmmakers do that on purpose? Did the filmmakers do that on purpose? Are we supposed to feel like this character's off, or is that really the character that's the thing? And then they could immediately subvert expectations. Just a little bit more of that I thought would build even more tension and make it even more of an uncomfortable film to sit through. And I think if we had had more of that, it just would have made the monster scenes feel so much more scary, out of place, rather than just shocking and, oh, well, that's happening right now. I just feel like if we had gotten more reaction scenes, it would have balanced the two very well. Some characters and dialogue also seem a little bit bland to me, and a couple of characters seem to only be there to be killed, but that's a normal thing that happens in most horror films. Even in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, they were just characters that were meant to be casualties, to amp up the fear that the audience is supposed to feel for the killer. That's just a normal trope. But besides those two small things, this is a very well-made film. Alright, I'm going to read my conclusion because it sums up my thoughts on the film pretty well. Upon release in 1982, this film was slammed by all of the big critics at the time, who called it reprehensible, vile, disgusting garbage with no intellectual or valuable merit beyond showcasing gore. I even know some people who still feel that way to this day, but to me, this film is far smarter than it ever got credit for. The suspense that builds between the men is scarier than the gore to me. And the thought that anyone you know could be a monster is wonderfully frightening and done really well in this film. Kudos to John Carpenter for showcasing that through just scenes of silence. There's this one scene where we see a character's shadow on the wall, and a dog who has been built up to being a thing just walks into the room, and we just hold on that shadow on the wall for like a good 30 seconds. And it really builds up this intensity. Like, is this character going to be attacked? Was that dog the thing? Is he already a thing? Was he turned into a thing? It's just really, really well done. Yes, the creature effects are done well, even if they are a little too gory for my taste. But I never really liked the film because of the gore. I like it for its trust in the audience. It tells the audience that they can decide what happens next, and that there are no wrong answers regarding the ending to the film. Films that say something like that show me that the filmmaker obviously cared about the audience's experience watching the film, but more importantly cared about the film itself. Anyone can throw well-done gore on the screen. Heck, that's just what most horror is nowadays, except take out the well-done part. But with a thought-provoking storyline and the ability to let some things be left up to the audience, as well as wonderfully chilling score by Ennio Morricone himself, who did the Dollars trilogy, the Clint Eastwood Western series back in the 60s. The Thing is a masterclass in suspense akin to Hitchcock in a sort of non-gory way. This is not a bad film whatsoever. In fact, it's a good one. Sure, it's nihilistic in its outlook, but I've never really been one to expect a happy message from a genre filled with endless butcherings and killings. It's a good old-fashioned suspense 1950s homage monster flick, kind of akin to Creature from the Black Lagoon, or Invasion of the Body Snatchers, or Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. It's a monster flick, but it's just done in a more modern retelling, filled with some exceptional acting, great direction, and wonderful, if scene-chewing, special effects. This is definitely a film to watch with some pals, cuddled up on a couch, maybe in a blanket or something, on a cold night. Just maybe don't eat while watching it. You guys may not get this point yet, but I really just want to drill it and make it out there. It's pretty gory. It's not for everyone, and that's really okay. You have been warned, officially. If you don't believe me, I'll say it once more. This film is really gory. Alright, I'm going to rate John Carpenter's The Thing a 4.4 out of 5. Guys, this is a pretty good film. I think it has a lot of things that should be in a Halloween horror flick. Even though it takes place in a wintry atmosphere and it's kind of not really what you would expect from a Halloween movie, it's a really good scary movie to watch around this time of year. It's a really fun movie. I think if you get a couple of friends over, you can just have a good time with it. And that's really what Halloween is about to me. Alright, if you guys have seen this film and you liked it, tell me down below. If you didn't like it, also tell me down below. Also, once again, tell me down below if you have any review requests you want me to do. And look forward to more Halloween reviews, because they are coming and they're coming fast. Alright, if you'd like to subscribe, please do so. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the feedback so far on this channel. It's really helping me know what you guys want to see and what I can do better, and I really, really appreciate it. As always, go watch movies. Bye-bye.